Well, I mean, if you have a friend, someone you can trust, that's who you want as your cellmate. So if guys run into the cell, you want a guy who'll jump with you, stand shoulder to shoulder and fight. What you don't want is a guy who'll just lean back and let them take you out. And that's basically it. That's the fundamental rule. If you have some guy who you don't trust, then you get taken out any day. But if people know, those cells are pretty small, and if two guys are standing shoulder to shoulder, no one's coming in. You can stop it, and it doesn't matter if they have a knife or not, because most joint knives are, like I said, welding rods or sort of roughly shaved bit of metal, or I mean, nowadays they even fool around with razor blades on melted toothbrushes. So I mean, you know, it's not that much of an issue.
Was this a friend from the earlier part of the prison, Vacaville, or was it a friend from prior to
No,
prison?
from Sierra Conservation Center.
Okay.
Well, I mean, you have a choice. You're in prison. You got to make some friends somehow. So who do you make as a friend? Now you got all these sort of tribal white racists milling around with huge swastikas. I mean, I saw guys with SWP like in block letters on their forehead. SWP.
No.
This is your history lesson. Supreme White Power.
Okay.
White power down the back
Yeah.
arms, swastika here where the Germans uniforms used to have it, SS runes on the neck.
Yeah.
This AB member who tried to jack me up once had a swastika on his cheekbone right here. Now, if you put a swastika on your cheekbone or supreme white power on your forehead, what kind of future do you think you've got? I mean,
Do you think the gang encourages young people to do that? So when they get out, they go a job interview. This just don't stand a chance.
well, I mean, you couldn't think of a better way of crippling your chances in life.
Yeah.
So I used to look at the tattoos. And plus, when I was in jail, was the height of the AIDS epidemic. Now, how anybody could have a joint tattoo with some guy using an old piece of piano wire or something he found on the ground with, I don't know, an engine taken out of a tape deck and make a tat gun. And how you let somebody do that with carbon black and make tattoos. I mean, it's just absolute madness. I mean, that was HIV. Now it's what? Hep C, right?
Yeah, two-thirds at Hep C in Arizona where I was housed. You said that an AB tried to trick you or something, or tried to test you in some way. What happened there?
Well, I made a mistake at Sierra Conservation Center one summer's day. And the mistake was I took off my prison boots and I was barefoot. Now, it was one of these beautiful days. You're laying there, you're looking at the sky, and you think, well, things are all right. So I took off my boots and we took off, just sunbathing a bit. And my friend says to me, well, why don't you get us some ice creams? I say, okay. So I go over to the canteen to get some ice creams. And as I'm standing in line, this AB member is behind me and he says, buy me an ice cream, bro. That's all he says. He says, buy me an ice cream, bro. Now, that's the moment of truth in the jail system. It might not sound like much, maybe you could just buy him an ice cream. That'd be fine. He says, buy me an ice cream, bro. And I buy the two ice creams and I turn and look at him. And he's just covered with muscles and the tattoos. And the guy looks like a caveman. I mean, he's straight out of the 5th century, a berserker, right? And, I told him, I ain't your bro. And he says, you disrespecting me? And I says, I'm not doing anything with you. And I walked off. And he starts shouting at me, come into the dorm and I'll sort you out, you fucking coward, blah, 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 blah. And I didn't turn my back. I didn't make a move. I just continued walking. But the moment of truth has come, right? Now, so I talked to my friend. I said, you know this guy? He says, yeah, it's Stormer. He was the Vacaville heavyweight champion, no, middleweight champion, I think, boxing. And he tells me a story how he just took this black guy to pieces, right? And I'm thinking, great. Not only is this guy a psycho, but he knows how to fight. But, my friend says, well, look, just wait 2 or 3 hours until he cools down. and then we'll do something. I said, what are we going to do? He says, well, it's too early to get a pipe or something. I said, well, whatever. I'm just going to confront him. And so, but 3 hours later, he's over playing cards with all his, hangers on. And we walk up, and I look him in the eyes, and I tell him, Stormer, I'm ready for the dorm now. Let's go. And he just looks at me, and he says, ain't no thing. Ain't no thing.
So it's just a heart check.